Hey, what's good, everybody? It's me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, and you are listening to and watching a brand new episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. And joining me, as always, are my co-hosts, Rebellious D and Trav. How you fellas doing today?
Chilling.
D,
Pretty good, man.
I'm
you
rocking
have
the
to be
shredder.
careful when you shoot the arrow, man, because you never know where it's going to go.
Oh no,
It's like somebody
I shot another one. He
Hey,
wants
oh,
another
man.
one, Trav.
he's saying
wants
you got no
another one.
aim. He's saying
Hey,
you got
nah.
no aim.
No, what's going to happen? I'm going to make a video meme where D is shooting the arrow, and then he ends up shooting the girl in the eye that was on The Walking Dead.
Oh,
I don't
no.
remember her name, but
yeah. I don't know her
Mary.
name
she
either.
got shot right in the eye. She was talking. I think she was talking to Abraham or something.
She was she was a nice person.
It was
She was a
Mary.
nice person. Yeah, wasn't she like the nurse or the doctor or something like that?
Yeah, she was.
Yeah,
she was a nurse. I believe it. She was a nurse.
It was Mary.
She got shot right in the eye.
I don't
Doesn't
remember
matter.
her name.
Trav,
I don't
she's
remember.
I
Walker
just told
food.
you her
now.
name. It's Mary.
She's Walker
Are you
food.
sure it's
now.
Mary?
Yes.
I thought it was Ashley,
Well, you're wrong. It's Mary.
Damn.
like Mary Winchester.
No, like
Not
Mary
like-
had a little lamb.
Mary had a little lamb.
Oh God!
Mary got shot in the eye.
That's right.
And joining us on today's episode is a very talented voice actor. He has been in a bunch of stuff. His accolades, like it's so many to name. Like I could.
Accolades.
It would take hours to name everything that this man has been in. And you know, he's just a dude that likes quesadillas.
I'm just a dude that likes quesadillas. Look, let's just talk about quesadillas. I'm not here to talk about anything else. All right.
Jeez.
And that is Mr. Nazeeh Tarsha. How you doing today, man?
Hey, doing well. How are y'all? Chilling.
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
doing good,
chilling.
man. You know, before we started the episode, we was kind of talking around a bit. We was talking about Dragon Ball Evolution, and
Yeah, you were swooning over the voice.
because he has a really nice voice.
Dude said one sentence and Banks went, oh, my God,
look,
voice.
look.
He has the voice.
I need more people to agree with you because your boy wants to get cast. All right.
That's right.
Uh-huh.
That's right.
True.
Yeah,
You
so,
flatter me though. You flatter me.
Oh, for sure, man. Hey, that's what we do up here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. When we have guests come on, we hype them up because they are good at what they do, and if they weren't, then we wouldn't have them up here on the pod, right, Trav?
That's right.
All right.
Let's not go that far.
Hey,
Oh
Nazeeh,
damn. Yeah.
just don't slam on the brakes because he's gonna. Hey, you know what I'm saying.
Gotcha.
That nose, that brown nose. Don't slam on the brakes. Whatever you do.
That nose may be a little brown when you get shot.
Yeah, I'm gonna need to see
Here
some
we go.
insurance. You know what I'm saying? Trav?
Here we
Shit.
go.
Voice and
I love when D calls this man out. It brings me so much joy. I smile like Bank smiles when he hears Dean Winchester.
yeah.
That's
God.
the kind of smile I get.
It's like well, the thing is that you know I let D get his fun in on the podcast because he already knows that I'm going to give it to him off the podcast.
Oh yeah,
So
he works me. He calls
See,
me in the
that's-
morning.
Hey,
I call him first thing in the morning.
Because
I
that's
said-
the kind of person Banks is. He doesn't
Yep.
want people to know.
He's like,
He
this
does
guy
it
should be
behind
out of the
closed doors.
office. Let me
You need
call
a
him.
Yeah,
Yo, what
I'm
you
the
need to
hero.
do, you
I'm
need
the
to Hulk
hero.
Hogan this man, record the conversation,
Oh,
and we're
God.
going to put it out.
Jeez.
We're going to put it out.
Oh
Take it
man,
to
what did I
another
walk
level.
into? Oh man.
Yeah, so
I'm not trying to get no one canceled on this episode.
no. Everything is fine because it's like once you leave, I'll take care of both of them. Like that's how
Oh,
That's what she
no.
said.
So before we get into today's interview, everybody that is watching this, make sure that you like the video, you tap the subscribe button, and you hit the bell button so that way you're always notified when we have new content here on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. So
That's right.
let's go ahead and get into today's interview. And Z, what we do with all of our guests that we have on is we ask them, what is your origin story? So let everybody that is watching and listening know who is Nazeeh Tarsha. Sorry about that.
No, you're good. Yeah, I mean, my origin story happens to be like a cliched freaking like theatrical rom-com kind of thing that happened. Grew up with my Middle Eastern parents, kind of just like coming overseas and brought up to be on like, mathematics and sciences. It's like, I'm going to be an engineer. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to be something that'll actually make money, ideally. And then, and I was good at that stuff. And then I went to college and I was the most miserable I'd ever been in my life. Taking just these classes, and I ended up having like a hiccup happen where I needed to take an extracurricular, and so I decided, all right, I'm gonna take an acting for non-majors course over the summer. I took that, and then I was just like, yo, I kind of like this. I kind of like this a lot, actually. This is fun. So from there, I was just like, all right, I've been this is like the happiest I've been my entire time being here in this past year. So I'm gonna go ahead, try out as hard as I can for like the theater program, because you have to audition to get into the acting. You can transfer into theater, but acting, it's like you had to audition and get in, and if you didn't get in like 2 tries, they say you're done. Like that's it. Wow. So it became like this really weird goal for me, and yeah, I worked hard and I managed to get in on my first try. Just. Maybe I was born for it. I don't know.
Right. Hey, you got the voice, according to
Ben.
Exactly.
It was meant to be. But no, seriously, like I spent a lot of nights just like slaving and working, trying to just be what a good actor is supposed to be. I've never been in this world. Never did drama in high school or middle school. Never did any of that stuff. But after I got in, I immediately hit the first roadblock where it was, appearance matters in theater and in camera. And look, I'm 5'6", I'm 215 pounds, I'm short, stocky, I ain't getting no lead roles anytime soon. Don't matter if I got the voice, I don't have the appearance. So,
I'm sorry to cut you off, but Wolverine didn't have the appearance either.
Wolverine was much thinner than I was, though. Just saying. Let's be real here. If I had that appearance, maybe I'd like finagle a little more.
Yeah, Wolverine's kind of built like a rugby player.
Yeah, like let's not compare this Pillsbury Doughboy to him.
Oh,
but yeah, no, I started thinking a lot about just like cartoons and video games and like the media that I was just consuming in general, and was just like, wait, like. Now that I know acting is like a career that people can chase, like, and it never really dawned on me when I was younger, like, oh shoot, these people are like actually pursuing the, like, you can enter into the field. Sure, it's not traditional, like just a job application and whatnot, but like it is something that people can try and do. So when I realized that voice acting is the exact same thing, just a different medium, that's when I was just like, oh, hold up. It doesn't matter how I look. I can voice a 2-foot green gremlin. I can be a 7-foot monster. I can just be a guy who looks much cooler than I do, but has my voice. Like, the sky's the limit. So, yeah, I just started kind of gearing myself toward voiceover. My degree was in theater, but I would do like all my extra research on the side. Graduated and just started kind of being a little nomadic. Went from... I was in Florida for my university, and I went from like Miami to Georgia, lived there for a little bit, and then ended up finding my way coming to Texas when I got into contact with Funimation. And from there, it's just like the ball just kept rolling, and the voiceover stuff started taking off more. And that's probably a lot longer an answer than you probably needed or wanted, but that's
cool.
It's
okay.
We got 2 hours to go here, man. So you can talk as much as you want.
But yeah, I will say there was a, it's kind of like that right time, right moment kind of thing where it just so happened that one of my university like instructors, he was from Texas, and so he had a contact who had already been a voice actor for Funimation in general, and just kind of was already involved with this within like the voiceover scene. So it was like one contact led to another, led to me being able to get the opportunity. So like there is still that element of like right place, right time. I wasn't just, I'd love to say that hard work will just get you there, but also you gotta got that luck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you also gotta capitalize on your opportunity. I mean, you didn't go into the interview or the audition and crap the bed. You know what I mean? You knocked it out of the park. So, I mean...
No, yeah, totally.
Something I wanted to touch on is because we've had voice actors on the podcast before, one being Lee George and another one being Christopher Dontrell Piper. And
those are my guys. All right.
Hey, they good people, man.
Everybody knows Lee out. Yeah, no, I love Lee. Dude, Lee is a brother.
Hey, he was our episode that came out recently, and really cool dude. We enjoyed having him up here on the podcast, and I just wanted to bring up how they were into theater as well before they got into voice acting. So it's interesting that if you were in theater, it's kind of easier to get into voice acting because, like you were saying, you were in the right place at the right time, and somebody who worked for Funimation, it's like they knew who you were, and then you went through the process, and then bam, it's just like you got into voice acting. So, if anybody that's listening and watching this, if you're into theater, you might possibly be able to get into voice acting. It might be an easier route for you to get in, because I know too, it's like it's acting. You know what I'm saying? Theater, it's like you're playing a role. So that carries over into doing something behind the mic. It makes it easier because I'm a professional wrestler, and it's like when I get in the ring and I got to cut a promo, it's like, it's a form of acting, because of the expressions that you have to make, the tone of your voice and everything. And a lot of people, they can't cut a promo. You know what I'm saying? It's like some guys will get in the ring and they'll try to cut a promo, and it's just like, I don't believe anything that this guy is saying. And when it comes to cutting a promo, when it comes to acting, it's like you have to be able to deliver, so that way people will believe you. You know what I'm saying? Right. When you're watching a TV show, a movie, it's just like you can tell like when somebody isn't giving it 100%.
Right,
yeah,
right.
You got to FedEx that mother. You know what I mean?
If I can piggyback off that.
Hey, he already knows.
What word?
Hey,
What?
That's our Pee Wee Herman. That's the word of the podcast. Piggyback. That is what we do. We piggyback. We piggyback. And we double piggyback. And we triple piggyback.
Yeah.
All right. Hey guys, we're gonna have to
yeah.
come up with a new plan because he's got us figured out.
Yeah, I know. It's just like, did you listen to us beforehand? Because it's like that's our word, like piggyback and
piggyback and snowball.
Look, I would love to say that I did my due diligence, but I'd be honest, I didn't.
But he Dragon Ball Evolution does.
I'd like to think great minds think alike. That's all that's happening right there.
That's a good cop out. That's a good cop out.
Yeah, he gave us the Dragon Ball Evolution treatment. Didn't read the manga.
Dang. I'm sorry. All right, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and cancel myself. We done, guys. It's all right.
Hey,
look.
Nice having you on, man.
It was fantastic. Thanks a bunch.
This is our shortest interview.
Thanks for joining us.
I need to hear this piggyback though.
But to piggyback off of the whole theater into voiceover and stuff. So I got into Funimation, but Funimation wasn't a goal, or to put that more appropriately,
right.
I didn't get into voice acting with the sole purpose of doing like anime or anything. That was just, whatever gigs or opportunities came into my inbox, that's what I just chased after and continued expanding from there. But for people that enter this field, one of the reasons why you'll see a lot of folks that have like theater backgrounds or just like, general acting backgrounds is that there's a lot of folks in voice acting that are just fans. Like they want to pursue voiceover because they think video games are cool, they think anime is cool, they think cartoons, and they just want to like be a part of that, catch that little fire. But it's like you were saying, they don't acknowledge the acting part of the voice acting. So they think it's just a matter of being able to go on and do a quirky voice and just be like, oh my God, I get to be here. And it's like, no, look, like it's about the acting. So that's why you'll find a lot of folks when they're casting, if they happen to be watching a play and they notice like an actor that stood out to them, they'll be like, hey, you were really good. Would you like to audition for my show? It happens to be a video game, or it happens to be it's like, that's how that sort of ends up happening for half the people in this industry, I feel, because it displays a commitment to the craft of acting rather than just a fandom to the medium or genres of like video games and anime and things like that. Because voice acting, it is that like that weird thing where, because of just the overall fan base that exists, it reaches out to so many more people than just artists, obviously, which is why it becomes harder to kind of like sift through and be like, all right, who's actually an actor, who's actually dedicated, and who's just trying to get in because they think it's cool.
Yeah.
If Let me just say, we've talked about how far English dubbing has come over the last 10 years or so versus like the 90s where the English dubs were pretty poor versus now. You'll notice, though, the reason why Disney animations are so good because they're filled with actors. And now that Funimation has started to go out and get, you know, actual people with acting background and understand the mentality of how to play characters versus just going and getting people that are fans of anime. I guarantee that's how it was back in the day. Because even when we had Kyle Hebert up here, he even talked about he was just a fan of Dragon Ball Z and wanted to audition.
Right.
You know what I mean? And now it seems like they're really trying to go out and get people that understand character development and how to take themselves into somebody else.
Right. Totally. Especially with back then where it used to be just like you might have like a newspaper, like they were just trying to get bodies into a door. It's like nobody wants to do this. This is just random and like, oh, what is anime? You know, just to use that as the example. But yeah, no, I completely agree. It's just people are trying to make sure that they nurture the field.
Now, the question that I had is how many people, because like you said, like some people, they get into voice acting and it's like they're just fans. They're part of the fandom. I know we had Mark Allen Jr. on, and he was telling us, well, I actually talked with him about this outside of the pod because I've always been interested to get into voice acting. And, you know, he recommended that I take like a course or a class or something like that by, you know, somebody like I know Steve Bloom. He has a voice acting class.
He has a master class.
Yeah, he recommended that to me. But I wanted to know, like, how many people like audition for roles and it's like, you know, they've never been to a class or anything. It's just like, you know, they just put a demo out there on the internet and you know, were they lucky to, you know, get selected or do they get turned away because they don't have any experience? Because it's kind of, I would say it's kind of like a job interview, correct?
Kind of. So I will say, you know, it's not a one size fits all. It's not something that, you know, there isn't sort of an elitist view that you have to have an experience and resume and background and all this stuff. That stuff just helps give you more credibility. So when you send that email or if you happen to like, you know, make out that social media post saying, hey, here's my demo. I happen to be an actor. Here's kind of like what I do. That stuff helps to build the credibility. At the end of the day, you absolutely have actors with zero experience that manage to book, you know, some awesome opportunities. And it's just because they get it also. You know, it's like acting definitely comes more naturally to some than others. Some understand, even if they didn't have any formal training, it's kind of like just like that hidden talent that, you know, some folks may just have. And in other times, yeah, no, exactly. And you know, I don't like to discredit any single person that gets cast in a thing. If they, regardless of the skill level or experience, there is always a reason or there's something that the director heard in that demo, that audition, that whatever it may be. And they said, I want to give it a shot. At the end of the day, it varies on whether or not that shot was worth it. Because obviously people come in and out of those doors, or like in this industry in general. But yeah, no, I don't like to deter people from thinking that, oh yeah, there is a barrier of entry, but that barrier of entry is just flexible as hell. It really just depends and varies person to person. As much as I know how much everyone loves to hear that there is no one guaranteed way to break in and get through a door.
Yeah. Well, I just want to piggyback real quick. That just goes hand in hand with saying somebody's a natural at something. Some people, it doesn't matter the profession. There's always naturals and there's always people who have to work to get to that level. Right. You know, whether it's anything physically, mentally, it's just how it works. So
totally.
Yeah, I just wanted to say too, you know, to take it back to wrestling, you know, some people like they'll message me and they'll say, hey, I want to be a professional wrestler. Can you help me get my foot in the door? And I always tell them it's just like you need to go to a wrestling school because you can't just step into the ring just because you were playing a video game or you watch it on TV and think that you're going to be able to do the moves. Now, there are some people who It's like backyard wrestlers, or people who did a bunch of wrestling moves on their trampoline when they were kids, like the Young Bucks, for example.
Right.
In AEW, they were backyarders, and when they did start getting into wrestling schools and stuff like that, they were naturals at all the moves. So it's kind of like what you were saying with voice acting, where some people, it's like they might just have it. Like, who knows how many hours that person spent looking in their bathroom mirror and just reciting lines and just acting out scenes with with multiple characters and whatnot. And some people, it's like they come prepared. It's always good when you keep practicing, because it's something that you want to do in life. And when you finally get there, it's truly a blessing.
Absolutely.
Now, like Banks was saying, we've had voice actors on here before, but I think you might be the first person that we've had on here that does so much stuff behind the scenes and going into building, all that stuff. I don't think we've ever really had that on here before in that experience. So I'm definitely eager to know, kind of like the step-by-step process of talent coordination and coming in here and doing the dialogue replacement and reworking scripts, and what goes into making those decisions and how they're going to rework something to fit it for the English dubs.
Yeah, so in terms of adapting a script and creating something, there's kind of like an assembly line that happens. You have the time coder who's kind of at the front, making sure that they're all the dialogue is appropriately coded so that when you go to a specific part in the video, it's there. Mm-hmm. Then that'll go down to the script writer, where they'll go ahead and take the translation that we're given and make it to where it's actually sounding like they're legitimate words that would come out of a person's mouth, rather than just hodgepodge together words that's just the generic meaning of what the sentence should be. And then from there, that's when it really ramps up on me and the director, where we come together and are like, okay, who are everyone that exists in this thing? Who is already cast? Who do we need to cast? Do we need to hold auditions? Is the deadline way too tight to where we just need to all right, we know who fits these vocal types. Let's go ahead and try this, and this, call it a day. And then kind of working to hit those deadlines in terms of anime, because that's what a lot of our work ends up being. There are simuldubs, these weekly releases that cause just really, really hectic and chaotic times, where sometimes I'll be up to 2-3 in the morning just being like, okay, let's go ahead and email Lee George, tell him, all right, hey, are you available in 7 hours to come in? It's stuff like that.
Or the text message that Lee's talking about, not the email. The text.
Yeah. Or the text. Yeah. I've gotten my fair share of my own 3 a.m. texts, that's for sure. But and it's just a matter of making sure you're on top of things, on top of the talent coordination. I happen to do client meetings as well, kind of have production meetings to make sure that deadlines are all on track, what exactly the needs of the production are and whatnot. If I'm talking with the folks over at Funimation, for instance, it's just kind of making sure that everything is being adhered to, that the licensor has asked for, on top of, like I said, just meeting the deadlines in general and just kind of making sure everyone's on the same page. And yeah, I mean, that's a lot of it. I also direct. Most of my direction happens to be on some of the video games that we do. So Smite, Paladins, Rogue Company, these things I sort of help dabble in. And every now and then I may help assist and direct if one of my coworkers can't, or just a huge monkey wrench came in. So my life is just a 24/7 constant revolving, where if I'm not doing the acting stuff, I'm juggling everything else. And there are a lot of times where I'm just in a booth recording, but I'll also have my phone just oh man, this actor didn't show up. Okay, let me text them while I'm doing my lines or something, or in between me saying my lines, let me go ahead and do this real quick. But it is a lot of chaos. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of moving parts.
Yeah. So I take it that you enjoy doing voice acting more than doing the directing stuff.
Actually, I do like the directing stuff quite a bit, and I think it's because my acting background lends me to being able to kind of like bring some performances out of actors. Like, you know, there's a certain kind of lingo that ends up being adopted by actors to one another, and if I can't get what I want, it's, you know, coming up with like weird analogies or metaphors on the spot to kind of just be like, all right, how do I get this read out of an act? Like, I know what I want to hear. How do I explain it to them without just straight up telling them, hey, give it to me like this? Because I hate doing that also. Like, I want there to be a collaboration. I want the actor to have like gotten to the end point with the, you know, with the push rather than just being told. Because if you're just told, depending on the instance, it just makes you feel like a failure.
Yeah.
But I do actually very much enjoy the directing. Now, the rest of the administrative stuff, that can definitely that can take a hike. I hate it. I'm very good at my job, but boy, does it put a drag on things when I'm just like, I just want a full-time voice actor. I just want to like act and direct. I don't want to do this other stuff.
That's the stuff you get paid for. The other stuff is, you know, what you would do for free because it's fun.
Right.
That's why you're getting paid to deal with.
There's a reason. That's what's putting this 103 right here in front of me.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
So taking it back, how was it the first time that you stepped into the booth, and what was the first role that you did when you stepped into the booth?
Oh man. So the first thing that I ever did was a live action dub on a movie called Swordmaster. And what happened there was I took a class, recommendation, and this was actually at Okatron before I worked there as my current job. So I was brought in, and you know, it's one of those things like, oh man, I'm actually like, I got picked. Okay, cool. So go in the booth, and I have this switch that I flip on and off. I'm a personal fan of the idea where if you are geeking over the thing and you have like this over like excitable energy, leave it at the front door. Nobody wants to see that because that just looks unprofessional as hell. So every time I go in, it's just like, oh hey, you know, yeah. Back then at least. Now I have more camaraderie with my peers, of course. But yeah, first time I entered the booth, it was just like a very much cut and dry. Like, yeah, okay, cool. You want to play a dying old man? I've never done this before, but sure. You know, it's just like, hear the direction, do what I'm told, hope I did it right. And I do remember at the end of that session, they were in the middle of recording Dragon Ball Super, actually. And they were looking for someone to play a character. Ultimately, I didn't land it. But the director at the time, he was just like, hey, give me 1 sec. And like, he stepped out of the booth. And he went to go and talk with the director, and the director of Dragon Ball at that point, and he came back and was like, "Hey, so real quick, I'm gonna have you do this audition." And I was just like, "Of course, I saw Dragon Ball Super," and I'm like,
"Who wouldn't be excited for that?"
Right? And then that I think my second session was I got called it was like a word of mouth. I did good enough in that one session where director recommended me to another director. It was like Donald Schultz, Raleigh Pickens, and Stephen Hoff. They're like the main three at that time. And I remember I got a thing where it was just like, hey, are you available to record on Code Geass Akito the Exiled? And I was just like it just jumped immediately. Like I just went from like a live action dub, and my first credit right after was a Code Geass thing, and then like the one after that was like Black Butler, Book of the Atlantic. Like it was just like all of a sudden I just got thrown into this world where it was just like, I grew up watching this. What is happening right now? And of course, you know, I try to keep it professional, but then like, you know, I go home and I like get on the phone with my girlfriend and just be like, what the hell is my life right now? What is happening? But yeah, it's an awesome feeling, you know. And that's kind of my first experience. It was just like that train where it was just like, oh man, I guess, yeah, word of mouth really does play a huge role too.
Now, Nazeeh, question for you. Do you feel like doing additional voices in multiple projects helps you to hone your abilities? That, you know, with taking so many different angles, you know, not knowing what they're going to ask of you?
I do, actually. There's an element of improv in there where it kind of keeps you on your toes, and it's kind of just like a quick course, like a crash course in kind of just going through your arsenal. You know, there are a lot of times where if you're called for additional voices, like obviously some people's ranges are not as extensive as others. So you know, someone may only be able to do this voice and then maybe go a little higher, and that's it, whatever. But they'll at least get to go back and forth. You know, it's like, okay, episode 1, episode 2, episode 3, back, call it a day.
Yeah.
But I think there is absolutely merit to just any of the type of work, because anything that you end up booking kind of helps sharpen your skills regardless of the nature of it, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're booking lead roles, then great, you're getting an extensive study in kind of developing a character, building a character throughout a season and all that stuff. But with the additional voices, it kind of helps, you know, in the very least, even if you felt that it was worthless, which I disagree with, of course, but in the very least, it keeps your dubbing skills sharp, because dubbing is definitely a different beast in the acting world, trying to just like see the sentence, look at how the flaps are, and just match that to that in the timing. And like, there's something always being done to sharpen your skills, even if you don't think there is.
Exactly. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up too. It just popped up in my head when we had Mark on. He was saying that, you know, when it comes to voice acting, some people, it's like they think that they have to do impressions and stuff when it comes to voice acting, whereas at the end of the day, you could just use your normal voice and like that'll land you the role.
Yeah. If there's anything that has like on the inside of the industry, everyone hates people who just come up and say, I can do impressions. That's not to say that the impressions aren't valuable in some capacity, but they're also kind of not acknowledging that Tom Kenny still exists in the industry. We don't need a SpongeBob, you know, impersonation, but we can just get SpongeBob. Like, he's there. But yeah, like that's like the voice acting 101 that I think a lot of veterans will tell people, which is scrap the impressions. Like, sure, you can try and hone them, have fun with them. They're kind of fun to bring up, but in a legitimate setting, it's not about being zany. It's not about impressions. It's about being real. It's about kind of, you know, bringing a sort of naturalism and bringing yourself to the performance. If all you can do is impressions, then you're just telling people you yourself don't have your own voice and your own personality. And why would you want to hire that?
Yeah, I like that right there.
Interesting.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, he's spitting facts right now. So I wanted to ask you now, what were some of your favorite animes that you watched growing up?
So my number one actually was something that I recently watched, was Ping Pong the Animation. I'm gonna count that as an answer because I'm still growing up. But when I was younger, Shaman King, that was one of my tops. Low key, you know, whoever ends up getting that dub, I'm looking for an audition. You need additional voices. I'm right here.
Shameless plug.
Yo,
like it.
But, put it out there. Put it out there in the ether, man.
But Yu Yu Hakusho is also just up there for me. You know, it's like
classic.
You know, had that. Just a lot of the Toonami stuff, or like the Adult Swim stuff. You know, going into Rurouni Kenshin, going into watching Naruto when I was in 6th grade, and just being like, oh man, look at all these cool things that are happening. And of course, Dragon Ball's a classic. But if I had to give you my tops, Shaman King and Yu Yu Hakusho, those are still to this day in my top 5.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this new
Well, what's the rest of your top 5?
The rest of my top 5? That's a good question. I'll need to think about that. But right now, it's definitely, so it's those two, Ping Pong the Animation. I will have to get back to you. Let me brainstorm that, because
I was hoping that you would say JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
You know, look, all right, so look,
keep on hoping.
I do love that show, and I absolutely do, but I'm not putting it in the top 5. I'm sorry. I put it in the top.
I'll take that answer all day.
It's in my top 10.
I'll put it in my
not in my top 5, but it's in the top 10.
Now
I'll give you top 10. I'll give you top 10. That I will give you, but I can't justify top 5.
This guy,
Trav, come on, now you're trying to cover it up.
the fact that this man talks about it every week and second, and for him to say it's not in my top 5.
Yeah,
he backpedaling.
In the
Trav, he is backpedaling.
Hey,
why the hell you talking about it so damn much?
because I love JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Trav, we did a top 10 episode, and JoJo's Bizarre Adventure was number 7 on my list.
Yeah, but I feel like that episode was before you got the illness, the JoJo illness.
I love how the truth comes to light, Trav. He backpedaling.
Remember when he started using my thing, and I'd be like, "Oh, you using my thing?" And he was like, "I've been doing that," and we both
have been doing it. I just won't do it on the pilot.
Here it is. I love the snowball. Trav, I'm gonna sleep good tonight. But he said, "I like it, but it's not my top 5." I was like,
it's number 7. Number 7. My top 5.
We didn't ask you.
My top 5.
You're not the. Hey, sorry, you're not the guest.
Even ask him.
Hey,
look at him. He's going on
out there.
He's ranting.
I need to put it out there. It's Dragon Ball, My Hero Academia, Yu Yu Hakusho, Sailor Moon, and Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
He's trying to be. Come on.
Okay.
Well, respectable. Right. Look, I'll give you BOTD here. Respectable.
Hey, when I'm dealing with these guys every day, man, it's like
Nazeeh, thank you.
It feels good to be appreciated, man. Because
it's all good. It's all good. Oh, sorry. I remember one of the other two. Dead Man Wonderland.
Oh,
that's
my
a
God,
good one.
That's so good.
Yeah, that's a good one.
One that I know a lot of people wish they would continue.
Right?
Yeah, man.
I'm waiting on that one day, right? Maybe
one day.
Now, Trav, did Dead Man Wonderland? Did that fall in with like D. Gray Man and all that stuff? That they just kind of stopped the anime.
Well, no, cause I mean, that's just one of those ones that, like, I guess it was hot over here, just wasn't that successful over in Japan.
Got it.
Or something. I'm not.
Yeah.
I think there was also a halt in the manga because I believe the artist or the creator was pregnant at the time also, so there may have been like a slight pause where it was just like, yo, I got life things. But popularity was probably absolutely a thing as well.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Okay.
Now, I wanted to kind of piggyback and go back on what you had brought up, Yu Yu Hakusho being in your top 5. Now, I recently just watched and finished Hunter x Hunter last year. Yeah, it was last year I finished it for the first time. Now, there are a lot of fans out there that, are Yu Yu Hakusho fans, and they say that Hunter x Hunter is better than Yu Yu Hakusho. Now, have you watched Hunter x Hunter and finished it?
I have. Yeah.
Okay, now, what are your opinions on the Yu Yu Hakusho versus Hunter x Hunter discussion?
All right, look, they're two different shows. Now they have their similarities,
obviously,
but I will give this to people who prefer Hunter x Hunter over the Yu Yu Hakusho. I get it because Hunter x Hunter is definitely a much better paced thing. It's one of those things where, because it's the same creator, so it's like, learned from one project and brought some new spice into the next and kind of kept it a little more succinct with that. And also it's definitely a little zanier and whatnot. We're looking at an earlier 2000 anime versus a later one, and it's just like, okay, fine, I'll give you the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, you like Hunter x Hunter, you think it's better, I'll let you have it. I don't agree. I'm not saying that it's worse, but they're its own thing, man. Like, you got to enjoy each for what they are. I mean, Yu Yu Hakusho, I think, was one of the first, like, hard-hitting character development related animes that I'd watched. It's just like, it's like the first example to me of oh, this can be for, like, adults too? This actually can hit multiple age groups and actually have meaning? Yeah, no, like, let's go with that. The hell? I think that was like a genre defining, like, or a medium defining show. So you put some respect on Yu Yu Hakusho, okay?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I'm glad that you said that, where you said that, it's something that could be for kids and adults, because I know we had got Cowboy Bebop over here in the States before Yu Yu Hakusho, and that was another anime that was, for adults. But when it came to, Cowboy Bebop and Yu Yu Hakusho, I enjoy Yu Yu Hakusho a lot more just because of the character development. There was character development on Cowboy Bebop as well, but I don't know. It was just something more relatable with watching Yu Yu Hakusho because it was your typical shonen story, and
Right.
you know what I'm saying. So it was just one of those things. But D,
Dang.
You are not gonna sit here and put Yu Yu Hakusho above Cowboy Bebop.
hey, that is my
Well
opinion.
developed
That is
that
my
show.
opinion.
That's
my
fine.
opinion.
That's fine.
That's fine.
But I'm gonna give you some reasons.
Tell
Cowboy
me.
Bebop, that soundtrack, it doesn't have character development. You have
Check.
all these interlinking stories that they all get resolved one way or another.
Check.
I mean, the villains, the action, the comedy. I mean, dude,
Now-
they fight at one point. They fight leftovers that was left in their fridge for too long.
Now,
Come on.
I will say this: Yu Yu Hakusho has better over the top characters like a Dragon Ball Z.
Of course, I'm
Kinda
not trying to take any
And
respect
I
off
love.
of Yu Yu
I
Hakusho.
have all of Yu Yu Hakusho on DVD. It is in my top 10. It is a classic, and it's an OG. It is an OG anime.
Yeah, I would put it up there with like a forefather kind
But
of
this man Banks
situation.
is not gonna sit here and look me in my damn eyes and tell me right now that Yu Yu Hakusho is
Come
a better
on.
anime than Cowboy Bebop when at
That soundtrack alone,
3
man.
out of the 4 arcs are just repeat arcs. Okay,
True.
it's the same
That's true.
shit,
I agree with you.
and
Look,
I like
man,
watching them. I love them tournaments. But let's not sit here and act like it ain't the same damn story. Just when minor changes.
Oh no, I agree. Yet definitely
Yes.
the final arc for
This
Yu Yu
guy,
Hakusho.
man. Hey, he won't saying that when Bo Billingsley was on this podcast.
Oh.
But he was like,
Easy.
he was like, Bo, I love Jet.
Yeah, I
I
love
do love
it.
Jet.
This
I do love
guy.
Jet Black. But Yu Yu
Just
Hakusho,
not,
I mean,
more,
like,
not more than Yusuke Urameshi, is what you
hey,
saying.
look, Yu Yu Hakusho is my number 3. It's my number 3. I mean, what do you want me to say?
Okay, all right.
No, I love Yu Yu Hakusho though. I
mean,
love
it's a
Yu
great.
Yu
It's,
Hakusho.
look, I like my man. Kuwabara keeps it real. Hiei was my idol growing up. I mean,
EA's that man.
you know that
EA's that dude.
that dragon of the darkest
EA's
flame.
the original
I used to walk
Sasuke.
around and
Sasuke
scream.
wishes he was EA, right?
Oh, for sure.
All day.
It is funny how they ripped Hiei's costume for Eraserhead, ain't it? It's like
Oh,
wearing the
shit.
same thing.
I didn't even notice it.
In a way,
He doesn't have the goggles.
Nah, but Hunter x Hunter is a great anime.
Yes.
I loved it. I love the Chimera arc. But yeah,
Chimera.
I can't say it's better than
Damn.
Yu Yu Hakusho. You know what I mean? I love Hunter x Hunter, but I can't say it's better than Yu Yu Hakusho.
I think it's a little more developed than Yu Yu Hakusho.
Yeah.
Well, I
That's the
mean,
main difference.
again, he's had 20 years
Exactly.
in between the time of writing it to develop his skills as a
Exactly.
storyteller.
no. Well, I mean,
What I
Hunter
mean.
x Hunter came out in '96, I believe. Like the story.
Okay, well, 10 years. Excuse me, this guy.
Yeah, wait.
Hey,
when did you?
Hey,
what,
my
Yu Yu
nuts are
Hakusho
going to need
came out
you
in
to
what,
hop
90?
off right now. Thank you.
Yu Yu Hakusho came out in what, 90, 91?
Yeah.
The manga?
I know they're both old.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah,
I know
they
they're
both.
both old.
I know they both came out in the 90s, but I will say that he had more time to like Trav said, develop Hunter x Hunter.
Right.
But after everything that happened with Yu Yu Hakusho, because I know that it caused him great stress. So he was able to
Dude, he put in a lot of work in all seriousness.
yeah,
Hunter
you know what I'm
Hunter
saying?
caused him great stress too. He had
Like
to leave.
debating aside. Yeah, he put in a lot of work.
Yeah.
Like
I don't know. I just thought that the character development in Hunter x Hunter was a lot better
I
than Yu
will.
Yu Hakusho.
yeah, it seems more developed.
I
And then
will.
also too.
Sorry.
Oh, go,
Yeah.
oh, go ahead.
No, I was gonna say, I want to edit the argument like while the original source may have come around, with a few year gap. When we're talking about anime, because we're talking about recent Hunter, and we're not talking about like the
not
original
the old one, but
Not
yeah.
the 90s one. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
the other one
It's like
started
that-
2011.
That was
somewhere in there.
2011. So like
Yeah.
look,
There's a 20-year gap.
There's a little gap.
Yeah, but I mean, like that's the same thing. Like if you have some people who try to, bash Dragon Ball and say that, oh well, Naruto is a better story or My Hero Academia is a better story. It's like Dragon Ball came out
course.
almost 30 years
And that's
ago.
a real forefather right there.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
can't-
you can't mess with Dragon Ball, dude. I love that story.
Yeah, but again, me personally, when I say it, what I'm like, yo, Naruto Shippuden, storyline wise, craps all over Dragon Ball Z. It's not that I hate, you know me. but
Well,
I
that's what I'm
love
saying,
Dragon Ball
though.
Z.
Like Dragon Ball
But
Z is
these
like
are
literally,
true facts, though.
yeah, it's literally a forefather. Like
Yeah.
you know,
Absolutely.
it walked so they could run. You know what I'm saying? Like Ninja run, like.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
hey, all these animes pay homage to Dragon Ball.
For sure.
So there's tons of respect there.
And then there's some that pay homage to Yu Yu Hakusho. I mean, like we seen it. Hey.
Or Jojo.
Also, Nazeeh. Also, I would like to recommend you a show that we just did a review for called Scissor 7.
Scissor 7. All right.
It's a Netflix show. Scissor 7.
Yeah, it's about
an assassin who loses his memory, and he's basically what would you say, moonlighting as a hairstylist?
Hairstylist,
yeah. Is that moonlighting?
It's a cover up. It's a cover up.
It's a cover up, yeah.
Yes. I think you'll get a kick out of it. It's very light.
You know who Ronnie Chang is? Stand-up comedian.
Not by name.
Trav know who he is.
Damn right I do. This he
had me on that comedy scene.
Yeah. Now, if we're going to be recommending anime, I would also recommend.
Of course, the opportunity.
I would also recommend. Trav, me and D, we both recommended it to you, and you was just like, "Nah, I'm good on it."
I know where he's going.
Hey, hold on, Rondell. I'm talking.
Trav, easy. Trav, easy. Don't hurt him.
The Great Pretender is another good anime. It's on Netflix as well.
I feel like he was going to say Tiger and Bunny, but he changed.
And then he switched it up.
Tiger and Bunny is good too, but hey, Trav, I didn't know you were a mind reader, and you read my mind.
Oh, hey, the more you know.
All right, I'll let you know. Right now, I went onto my Netflix just now. I added both of them. All right.
No, but for real,
I'm a man of my word. I will check that out.
It's a hidden gem. It is really that good.
Okay. Yep. I'm about that.
So, go back to the voice acting talk. What are some of your favorite projects that you worked on?
I mean, Pokemon kind of takes one of the bigger cakes, just because of the fact that that was more than just watching the show. That was a lifestyle choice. That was collecting the cards and the games and all this other stuff.
Absolutely.
And then I'm trying to think. Damn, you got me having to think about my own projects. I got so many that I do like. I mean, I gotta give the hands out to just like the big things that I've been in. Attack on Titan was a big one for me. One Piece was also that's number 5. There we go. How did I forget One Piece?
Thank you. Hey, notice how Jojo won in that top 5, but my man got One Piece.
Don't nobody care about One Piece like that. It's all right. It's all right.
Well, I guess I'm gonna have to cancel the rest of this session, y'all. It was nice knowing y'all.
Thanks, Big Mad. Right now, I can see it. I can see it.
It's not too often that we get a guest up here that.
Here it is, Trav. Here it is.
One Piece in their top 5.
Actually, it's pretty often.
No, it's not all the time.
Pretty often.
Hey, when we had Kevin up here, he didn't say One Piece was in his top 5. He said he loved JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
Hey,
of course.
A blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while.
Hey, right.
Wow. All right, so One Piece, Dragon Ball Super, Attack on Titan. Just the OGs that we grew up on. That I managed to somehow get my name on there. I
looked up in banks. I felt the heat coming off his eyes. Look at that.
I heard One Piece and I was just
that's crazy though. To grow up on something and then
be a part of it.
Be a part of it in some capacity.
Yeah.
It's so weird, dude. Like I'm not gonna lie to you. I still, to this very moment, I go to bed and I'm just like, is this really happening? Like we go on and like my girlfriend and I, we just go into the living room, watch like on Netflix or open up the Funny app or whatever, and it's just like, I'm on this. Like, what is happening? It's just there's like I'd be lying to you if I said I didn't have like a sense of imposter syndrome happen like every other hour. It's just like, and at Okratron, my boss is Christopher Sabat. So the fact that like, a lot of my peers and just like friends in this industry are just folks that are like of worldwide acclaim, and I'm just like, and I'm just some random schmuck who likes quesadillas and makes a lot of depression jokes on Twitter. All right, like I do not belong here.
Quesadillas.
I know. I feel like we need to dive into these quesadillas, right? Because for me, I like steak. I like green peppers. I like onions, and I like mushrooms. Obviously, the cheese is a given, right? I don't need to say cheese.
Of course.
But what makes the perfect? Oh, also,
the seasoning.
I prefer not my quesadilla folded, but 2 tortillas on top of each other.
Okay. I respect. Look, I respect it. Like, look,
interesting technique.
I mean, I do it at Wawa.
Look, that's how I used to do it
Wawa.
That's what they do at Wawa, bro.
Come on, Banks, you live in Wawa.
No, but
he does. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does.
Hey, he be posted. Look at this man in the parking lot at Wawa.
I'm gonna get him.
When you're driving a big truck, I mean, like
always something.
There's a pandemic going on right now. You know, you can't drive a truck through a
Trav, I'm gonna get him.
Okay, but
you know what I'm saying. But
Wawa, so you're admitting it. Yeah, I go to Wawa a lot, but it's not by choice.
But yeah, I mean,
okay, there we go. So, anyways, back to the case.
I would choose sheets over Wawa, but we don't have.
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely.
We don't have any sheets, unfortunately.
We don't have sheets though. But yeah, what makes the perfect quesadilla?
Look, I mean, you just gotta have like D said, that seasoning. You know, I don't care what your preference and your choice is. The thing that's most disappointing to me is when I have to rely on a sauce to get some sort of enjoyment out of a quesadilla. Like, if you give me that quesadilla, you know, I want that like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like pizza spread, where like if you take a slice out or whatever, and you see that cheese, like,
Now, when you say seasonings, you don't just mean salt and pepper, because you know some people when they think
in their
like,
he's probably talking about chili powder, maybe cumin.
If you're making quesadillas and you're not using something that has like a Spanish word in it, like sazon completa or sazon goya or something, man, like nah, you're doing it wrong. Hold up.
Who puts pepper in their quesadilla, bro? This dude said.
Don't worry, he's got a long way to go. Look at him, Trav. We got him tonight.
Look.
I love it. Look, he's trying to figure out how to get me out of here.
I was
looking up quesadilla seasonings right now. What can I say? All I had was salt and pepper. I don't know what to say.
Paprika, smoked paprika. Come on.
Look. You know, people may talk some trash, but if you got to, you go to that taco aisle. Just get one of those pre-made taco seasonings, even.
Yeah, man.
Like, if you got to, there ain't no shame in that. Like,
if you do it, you gotta do it right.
Look, everybody knows white people tacos. They rely on that taco seasoning from the packet right there.
Dude, where is the lie?
Butter. That is our bread and butter. Oh, you got the taco season, the packet?
You gotta have it.
We
gotta
good.
have the season.
We good. Thanks, bro. I don't know what to say. I love it, man. This guy is flustered tonight, D.
Hey,
y'all man. I feel like this is the last time I've ever been invited to this.
You coming back? You coming
back every week.
Yeah, you coming back.
Banks is like, yo, this is called leveling up with Benjamin Banks. All right, what are you gonna do about it? I'm like, all right, you know what?
Hey, leveling up with salt and pepper.
That's right. Easy.
Oh man. So yeah. Let's move it on over to video games, because I know, you know, the big majority of the work obviously is the dubbing of the animes and stuff, but I know obviously you handle some of the anime voiceovers too, whether you're actually voicing characters or coordinating or whatever. So kind of like the same thing, because a lot of these obviously are Japanese imports, and then they get greenlit to get an English, you know, voice and then translation to it. Is that kind of the same thing with the time codes, or is it a little bit more laid back than actually having to do an anime?
So it's definitely more laid back in that we don't have to do like necessarily the same sort of like weekly crunch. Sometimes it's like there may be like an impossible number of files we need to deliver, but at least we have like a month to do it. So we can like ramp up some days and like take it easy a couple other days and whatnot. We don't have to worry so much about time coding. This is where the difference in, now this isn't for all Japanese imported dubbing game related stuff, but for the ones that I've worked on, in the very least, there is definitely where it's just like, it's not so much about matching flaps as much as it is like matching timing.
Right.
So because like with the video game animation, it just becomes even more difficult, especially when you have like all these different console imports and whatnot. So it's just like, all right, get the general timing. As long as you fit that, then we're good. So I'd say it's definitely a little laxer on that front, because you don't have to worry so hard about it. But yeah, the process is more or less the same for us. You know, we take the scripts and we'll get somebody to kind of like put their touch on it, better adapt it, make sure it actually sounds like the characters rather than just straight up just, you know, translaty. And yeah, we just get to work. Same process. Get the actors in, tell them, all right, you know that character you did in the show, you're doing more of the same, just in the game.
Right. And that's kind of a ongoing thing because I know you said, you know, Smite, Paladins, where they're constantly releasing some form of DLC or introducing,
yeah,
you know,
characters and stuff.
Right.
Yeah, DLC.
Yeah, so like, you know, in the case of like Smite and Paladins, where those are actually just like straight up just games that are made here and art or import, like it's just a straight up video game. There's way more liberty in those when you don't have to rely on pre-existing facets. You know, like an actor, whenever I'm directing them or if I'm in the booth myself, it's just like, all right, cool. We can actually have fun with this. We can determine if we want a line to be zany, cool, nonchalant, whatever the read we want. We don't have to adhere to like, oh, how does this look on screen? We don't have, half the time we don't have anything. We're just like, okay, cool. Here's kind of like the general premise of what's happening. So just give me a read. And it's just like, all right. And then it's like, oh, you did something really weird there, but I like it. Let's keep it next. You know? So there's definitely a lot more freedom in the very least in my video games that I've worked on, where you can just actually like just go all out and have fun.
Right. So do y'all have like an exclusive thing with high res, or you know, where it's like, you know, these are my go-to guys and we got a contract for X amount of years, or is it like a handshake agreement where
I think there's like a column A, column B sort of thing. We've just, you know, the relationship with high res has just been something that has existed with Okatron way before my time.
Right.
But they're not like required to use this, obviously. Like, should they want to? And there definitely, I think, have been points where, you know, they've tried and dabbled with some other folks here and there. So it just becomes more of a, we like the product you're making, so we're gonna keep going with you. Is what that kind of boils down to. Whereas, you know, something that's like the games that the anime games, those have more to do with the licensors, and you know, it's kind of like, you know, when you look at Dragon Ball, for instance, and it's just like, okay, cool. Well, Funimation has Dragon Ball, and Dragon Ball kind of like lives here. But then when you look at like the Naruto stuff, how that exists with Bang Zoom and them, and that generally gets done over there. So it's like there's kind of like a licensor thing that happens here in that world, but no one is.
A lot of hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah, exactly. You just, you know, at the end of the day, people just want to get the job done.
Yep.
Now, I wanted to ask you, because I know that you've done a lot of work on My Hero Academia, and that's one of my favorite animes that I talk about it all the time, just as much as I talk about JoJo's Bizarre Adventure.
But this is a top 5 anime, though.
Yeah, this is.
Okay.
Yeah, this is a top 5.
Clear that up.
So for My Hero Academia, I saw that you did some work in the Two Heroes movie.
Yeah. So
as Electoplant.
Yeah. So in that one, I mean, I like to have a little bit of humility in my things. You know, it's like, yeah, I got like a named character in the thing, but I did say like a couple of sentences, and then that's it. You never saw from me again. But like, yeah, no, it was. I remember when Colleen had brought me in to work on that movie, and I hadn't worked with her before. It was just like a, hey, you know, let's go ahead and give it a shot. And coming out of that session being like, because it was more than just that. It was like, you know, there were a couple of like henchman things interlaced with that, or like, you know, some like random bystanders, because that's kind of how that works, where you're in the booth, so you might as well just get whatever you can while sounding a little varied. And after that, it was just like oh, you know, you're actually not too bad. I'll keep you in mind for like the future stuff. And You know, still waiting to see one day when I can get into the show as like a main. That'd be dope.
Yeah.
But
Well, the reason why I asked you that is because your character, spoiler alert, he does return in the manga.
oh, what?
Yeah,
I did not know that.
but the thing is that he hasn't returned physically yet. But all I'm going to say is that all I am going to say is that he is going to be returning. I don't want to give too much away, but like they showed him in the manga, so your character is going to be canon. So that's just a heads up to me. Because it's like, I know when we had Lee up here, he voiced the character in the manga as well, but not the manga, the anime.
Yeah,
he voiced the character in the anime, but he only had that one appearance. And when he came up here, I had told him that his character didn't appear again in the anime, but it's a possibility.
He heard him, bro.
Yeah, it's a possibility. But I'm letting you know right now.
I'm gonna go text Lee right now. I'm gonna text him like, you didn't tell me you got hurt.
Yeah, because it's like I read the manga whenever it comes out, and it's like when I saw that you voiced Electroplan, I was just like, well, I wonder if he knows that Electroplan is going to be returning. So
I didn't. I thought it was just like a straight up just one off.
Yeah, but you're gonna be waiting for a while though. I mean, that's
whatever. Look, all I'm hearing is that even if I go through no more voice acting work for now till God knows when, one day I'm coming back in that booth, baby. You'll be back in that booth.
Because we're on season 5 right now, so I'm assuming probably like season 7 or 8. Probably.
Look, I got time. I ain't going nowhere.
What time?
As long as you know.
Nazeeh, tell him you can do this all day.
I can do this all day.
Hit him with it.
Yo, hold up, but let's not tell Colleen that my character comes back, so maybe I get cast something else too.
Right.
That's right.
Shoot.
And you
don't want to be on the waiting list. Just like, well, I know he's coming back. Well, it's like I want to do something else because I mean, you can always voice multiple characters on the show.
Totally. Look, knock on wood. That's all I can hope for.
And me and D love some Colleen. You know what I mean? Hey, anybody that is part of the One Piece universe is a friend with us over here.
That's right. On leveling up with Benjamin Banks. Right?
So, Banks, I'm bringing it up.
I think I know what it is. Go ahead.
It's coming. That's what she said. And I got to bring it up. So we got a battle going on right now. We had our boy Danny Kramer, who voices Raihan in Pokemon Journeys, and now we got you, who voices Raihan in Pokemon Twilight Wings. Which, if anybody's not seen Pokemon Twilight Wings, it is on the Pokemon official YouTube. It's just a quick 8-episode kind of thing. I suggest watching it because I was blown away by how good this thing was.
Now, I just want to tap on to that.
Give it a little taparoo.
When on the slideshow in the back, Trav was like, "Why is Raihan up there?" And I was just
confused me.
Yeah, he was confused, and I was just like, Nazeeh, he voices them. You know what I'm saying? So it's interesting that we've now had 2 voice actors that voice the same character up here.
Different universes.
Different universes.
Yep. Dude, it's definitely weird, but I get it also. It's one of those things where the way I see it is, and this may just be my own, making up excuses because I don't have an entire claim to a character or whatever. But legitimately though, there is something to be said about a franchise that kind of opens itself up to having multiple different representations of a character and just different spins and different flavors, because at the end of the day, while you may know most main characters to be voiced by like a single person or whatnot, there is something also to be said about like this sort of like community where it's just like, oh yeah, no, like we all help bring a different life to these characters. I mean, hell, Leon has 3 different voice actors right now.
Right. Yep.
It's got need to remember everyone's names. I'm gonna refrain from naming names now. But in the 3 iterations, where it is Pokemon Journeys, Pokemon Twilight Wings, and the Pokemon Masters, I believe. I think it's like Masters. The game. Yeah. It's just like, it's just a straight up like, okay, cool. Like, as long as everybody has this understanding that they aren't the guy, but we are the guys, and understanding that there is this sort of like shared responsibility. You know, we all hold the weight of carrying the torch of this character and being able to be appropriate representatives of the franchise. And also, you know, it's a really good way of being like, don't have an ego.
Well, Danny gave you tons of props. He loved.
Yeah, he did.
He loved Pokemon Twilight.
Yeah.
And
Danny's a good
respect for you.
Danny is a good guy.
He's a great guy.
I remember having conversations in my DMs with a couple of other actors in the Twilight Wings franchise, and we kind of like had this discussion where it was just like, man, it'd be cool if we got to voice things, but at the end of the day, we know we're not going to. Right. We know the sort of like, you know, the trajectory that they've already taken with the different franchises. But we all had this agreement where it's just like, look, whoever ends up voicing the others, we have to acknowledge that they have the shared responsibility of the character, and we have to do nothing but lift each other up, because at the end of the day, we're just actors getting a gig, and it's kind of really stupid to not support each other, you know.
Exactly.
There's absolutely no reason not to. And I funny enough, I did a panel a couple weeks ago with Danny, an online panel. It was a Pokemon thing, so there's like several of us, but he's a funny dude. I do absolutely adore him. He is. and he has all of those like Pokemon plushes too.
Yeah,
it's just,
bag and sagging.
Hey, we call him bag and sagging Danny.
Hey, look, when we had him up here, he just kept on reaching down and pulling out Pokemon plushes, and his Switch. He just kept pulling stuff out.
It was funny. Like somebody would mention a Pokemon, and then this man just comes up straight up, puts it on the camera. It's just like, man, this man just has everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, but. When we brought him on for what was it? It wasn't Falcon and Winter Soldier, for WandaVision. It's just like he brought up the shield. It just came up. It's just like, where does all this stuff come from? Like, Where does he have it at? And he has it in his name.
The thing that I love about Danny is that he is sort of the embodiment of the childhood innocence that we all had, and it feels like it never left him. You know, whether or not he is truly as jaded an individual as someone like myself, he is much better at hiding it, that's for sure. But this man always seems to just have a smile and brings like an energy that is just like infectious, you know. And I've listened to his version of Raihan, and one of the things that I feared, not necessarily for the character, but the internet. The internet is so cruel. I hate the internet so much when it comes to, I hate his voice, I like his voice, blah, 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 like that stuff. So in my mind, I was just like, whoever voices Raihan, just let the internet like us both. That's all. I just want some positivity. And luckily he was met with that, and he's doing a fantastic job.
Now, since you were just talking about that, like, have you ever had any criticism from the fans over a character that you voiced? And if you did, how did you handle the situation?
Truly, I don't think I've done anything. Well, I mean, my roles are getting bigger now, but I don't think I've done anything to really warrant someone coming after me being like, hey, you sucked. And, you know, I see the general criticism that some of my peers get, or like, you know, just general dub versus sub arguments they come into. And if somebody really is just like, oh, I didn't like that voice or whatever, at the end of the day, you can't please them all. You know, I've had friends where I've had to have talks with them, kind of taking them off the ledge a little bit, where it's just like, look, man, you have so many other people who have listened to your voice, and while they might not be typing all this like rave positive things, you got to understand the one negative comment you see is just that one negative comment. Like, absolutely. It's just a dude behind a keyboard, or a dudette, who knows. But you can't let it get to you. You got to just shrug it off, because at the end of the day, it's just going to eat you up if you keep thinking that. At the end of the day, as an actor, and I say this to all of my peers right now, the only person that mattered in the time of that recording is the director. If you made them happy and they kept you on that final product, that's the only opinion that mattered. It doesn't matter what the fan receptions were. You pleased the one person it mattered to. That's it. So you did your job.
And I just want to say this in the words of Ed. I'm a dude, he's a dude, she's a dude. We're all just dudes.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
I
thought you were going to say something, D. He just said,
That's all I had.
Dudes.
Dude.
That's it.
But yeah, if anyone wants to come and tell me they hate my voice, by all means, come for it.
Hey.
Like it's
Hey,
cool.
I love
Hey,
you.
nah, we're not
Shit.
taking that here.
I
You're
was
part of
gonna
this
say,
band.
you gotta go through leveling up with
That's right.
Leveling
You're part
up.
of leveling up.
Hey, we
crew
got
now.
the salt and
All
we got the
right.
pepper, baby. And
Salt
we
and
coming
pepper.
for you.
All right. Let's do it. I'm gonna expect my jersey in my hoodie, my leveling up hoodie. All right.
hey,
Gotta
we
rip
don't
it.
have any of that,
Yo,
but I can
if the
send you a
crew-
wristband, though.
Yo, look,
a
if the-
wristband.
If the crew's repping me, I'm repping the crew. That's all I'm
That's
saying.
right. Thank you. One team, one speed.
Let's
With
go.
2-1 speed.
That's right.
All you got to do is run. And then look,
yeah,
D ran. You
Dang.
went out here.
Hey,
Look,
there's
He's
that
on it.
But no, Nazeeh, we really appreciate you coming on and joining us tonight, man. You've been such a delight. There's D. There's D.
He's back
So,
and stronger than ever.
Ever,
Look at
that's
this.
right.
Here I am.
Uh-huh.
Back from the hyperbolic time.
That's
saver.
right.
Ooh.
And not Yamcha style.
Not
More like
Yamcha
Vegeta.
style.
All right.
Okay. So yeah, with that being said, thank you again for joining us on tonight's episode. Let everybody know in social media land where they can find you at.
Yeah, absolutely. Twitter is my main thing, at Nazeeh Tarsha. There's really no reason to go anywhere else.
Right.
That's right.
But yeah, but no, also thanks for having me on. This
of course.
is, it's always like, kind of like, oh man, I'm going to be in an interview thing. Is this going to be like, I need to just like, yeah, so I did this. Or is it going to be like a chill, just like, all right, we're vibing. It's
Definitely
cool.
chill.
And
Spread the word.
I got to thank you.
Put in the word for us, man, because
spread
we
the
trying to
word.
get everybody.
Look, absolutely. This is fun. I like this.
Thanks.
This is just
Hey.
like chilling with the crew.
I
Hey,
think
look,
that's
exactly
the
what
one.
it is.
That's the one compliment we always get whenever we get done with all this, and we're all just chatting after the pod or whatever.
Yeah, everybody always wants to
That's
come
pretty
back
much the
on.
compliment we get, man. Is the and that's when we call it sliding in the DMs, as Benjamin Banks calls it.
Yes.
When we slide in the DMs, I always tell them too. We like to have a conversation with you. We just chill.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
don't
to
have.
know you. That's
We
it.
don't have a list of 20 questions that we're gonna drill you with.
Yeah.
Questions.
Honestly, most of the time it's not even about your career. It's about who you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
And
Well-
the career part is just in there, like just asking
Yeah.
those questions. I mean, because it's like you still got to ask those questions.
Sure.
I don't think fans really care about your career. They want to know about you. You know,
That's
what I
true,
mean?
too.
Exactly.
And build that connection, because that's the great thing about the internet and social media is now you can that's what it's supposed to be, right? Us
Yeah.
connecting with people in a positive way,
Not
and
that
getting
other
to know
stuff.
people a little bit more. And when you find somebody you're a fan of, that now y'all got the same football team that you enjoy,
Yeah.
or both of y'all got One Piece in your top 5. You know what I mean? It opens up to a connection between you and the fans, and it builds that, and that's what we
That's
do.
right,
Man.
Trav.
We build bridges over here on Leveling Up.
Mhm.
Well, I'll tell you what. I was gonna say, I'll tell you what. That's a strong bridge you got built. I mean,
Hey,
I like it. I dig it. All right.
Hey, because when you come on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks, it's like Olive Garden. We're family.
that's right. Boom.
All right.
That's right.
Still waiting for them breadsticks,
I was
but I
about
like.
to say.
Oh
Where's that catering?
no!
baby?
Base, you gonna have to have a basket of
what is
breadsticks
it?
at your leg.
Hey, D got him in the mail.
Oh, yes, sir. No question.
Got him in the
and
mail.
All right.
They're on the way.
All right. That's what I like to hear.
Hey, just be careful if it's a guy with an afro and a trench coat at your door. That's what you need to worry
Just
about.
don't
Oh.
answer.
Don't
Get
answer
under
the
your
door.
bed and call 911 or Liam Neeson, one of the two.
Liam Nielsen.
But yeah, hey, Nazeeh, thank you again for joining us, man. D, let everybody in social media land know where they can find you at.
That's gonna be rebellious _D23 at Instagram.com. Trav?
Hey, I'm a one-stop shop kind of man.
Mhm.
You can only find me on the Instagrams at ZK Audio. And if you are in need for a hero who doesn't have JoJo in their top 5, where can they find one, good sir?
You can find me, your hero, Benjamin Banks, at KingBenji_Banks on Twitter and Instagram. You can look me up on Facebook at Benjamin Banks. I should be the first person to pop up. If not, then I need to contact Mr. Zuckerberg. And with that being said, thank you, everybody, for listening and watching this episode. And we'll see you next time on Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks. Like I always say, keep that pinky up. Peace.
Be sure to smash that like button if you enjoyed this video and get notified every time we upload a new one by subscribing and ticking the bell icon. You can also listen to the full episode by searching for Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks on your favorite podcast app. If you'd like to help support more great content like this, be sure to check us out on Patreon. We'll have the link posted in the description below. Thanks for listening, and see you on the next episode of Leveling Up with Benjamin Banks.